Hello everyone! This hour on Verbling, the next in my Getting Results in Business series. We're going to be starting a new unit today, but we're also going to finish our not entirely complete business meeting from yesterday. We've ran out of a bit of time. So we are going to return to our business meeting where we're solving a cultural issue, and afterwards we're going to start a new unit all about how to talk about job performance, how you assess people, evaluate them, how you gauge productivity. All of those issues will come up in this new unit, and we'll work on the vocabulary, key expressions for assessing and evaluating performance, and much more. Well, that's coming up in just a moment. That's a bit about the class. Here's a bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. When you are speaking, tune in to the new words. That means take what you've learned and use it actively during the class so I can correct you and give you feedback. Last but not least, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is a little bit about the class. That's a little bit about me, I meant to say. Let me share the material with you for today. So here is our notes document where we have all the material. Don't forget to open the notes when you sign in. Below the green join button in the video window, you have class material and the link that says open this document. And if you need it, I will post it as well in the chat window for you. Okay? So let's scroll down to today's class, and you'll notice I already put Unit 15 here, even though we're not going to start off with that. We're going to start where we left off in the last class, Presentation 4, our business meeting. Let me get this loaded up. And while that's loading, it'll take a second. And while that's loading, I'm also going to open our mind map from yesterday so we can take another look at some of the key phrases we've learned. Okay? So, let's see. We've got Sergio and we've got Ishmael coming back. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello, John Eric. I am doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Nice to see you. We'll give everyone a few minutes. How are you, Sergio?
I'm doing great. Hello, Ismail. Good morning.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, so yesterday we didn't quite finish our business meeting, but I want to just show you the rest of our mind map. Remember, the keywords on the mind map are also in the memory review, the course I created for you in Memrise if you want to use it. So you can review the keywords here, how to describe cultures like hierarchical, egalitarian, individualistic, etc. What prepositions to use? Yes, you can test yourself here by opening the preposition, guessing, and then seeing. Look at aware. Is it aware of? In, out of. Click it, and you'll see the answer. But these same words and expressions are in the Memrise course, which I sent to you as a link in the message system. So for today's class, don't forget that some of the key phrases you're going to need are encouraging people to say more about their what's the word I'm looking for? Not the topic, but the solution to the problem, or when they describe the problem. So if we go down to yesterday's class, whoops, let me go forward here to the very end. You each had to take one aspect of the research that you did to try to figure out what was wrong with this company, PCR. As you're explaining it, one thing you can do is go back to your mind map and make sure that you're actively using key expressions to encourage more information from other people. Also, giving information. Some key phrases just to explain the situation is here. Due to, it seems that, the reason being, came about because of. Okay, so you're going to try to use those actively. So, seems like no one is on Verbling today. What's going on? There's usually 9 people in the class. It's really quiet. Is that all day long, or is it just in the mornings? Because last Tuesday, it's weird. I noticed that Tuesdays have been really, really quiet since about the 15th of January. I have no idea what's going on. Are the other classes quiet too, or is it just the morning classes? Seems
I
like
usually wake up late, John-Erik, but today I got up early, and the other classes was not so busy when I compare with the past.
Right. Yeah, it seems like things are a little bit quieter these days. I don't know what's going on. All right. Well, listen. We'll do it with or without them. So, yesterday, you had to each take a profile. What I want you to do is, first, Sergio, do you remember which profile you were doing yesterday? Which student were you?
I was a student B.
Student B. Okay. So, Ishmael, you were doing the kind of the background, the cultural background. But for today's class, to get a little extra practice, I'd like you to be student A.
Okay.
All right. And what we're going to do is start a meeting and then give an explanation of what seems to be wrong, and then point out possible reasons, because I'll have you both go to slide 8, and that will help you come up with some ideas about what might be going wrong. Then, as a group, we're going to try to come up with a solution. All right? So I want you to focus on how you do your presentation. You can use the mind map. By the way, if you want the direct link to the mind map, it is here in the chat window. For some reason, the internal chat and the external chat are not linked. I don't know why. So let me put it on the inside too. There's oh, there it is. Just appeared. Okay. So, actually, let me just ask a question, Sergio. I can't remember. Did you already presented your problem, didn't you, yesterday?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay, so let me give you new information then, so you're not repeating the same thing. Let's change this. Sergio, you take student C. Ishmael, you take student D.
Okay.
Take a moment and think about how you're going to present the information. Let's have the meeting, and during the meeting, I'd like you to actively encourage more information from the person who's speaking. And if then to help you, I will flash some of the key expressions on the screen if you need them. Okay? So, can I give you maybe a minute and a half to read over your information? Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm starting the clock now. You have 90 seconds to get familiar. 1 minute left. Okay, so time's up. Are you ready?
Ready.
Excellent. If I was starting the meeting, I'd probably say something like this. Hi everyone, thanks for coming out today. As you know, we're here. Let's assume that we are business consultants. We were hired by PCR to figure out where the problems are between them and the Malaysian bank, and maybe to offer some solutions. So, Sergio and Ishmael, I know you've done a little bit of research. What have you found? That means one of you has to start speaking.
Yes, John-Eric, we have some problems with Malaysian partner about communication. We as PSR finds it very frustrating because we want to cut off and execute the new system, and we send regular emails and make some phone calls to get some feedback from our customer, but they don't answer our questions. They don't call back us.
Actually, they don't call us back?
They don't call us back, and they send many email, and they call generally when we were driving to home or to work, and we didn't prepare their endless questions.
Okay.
We couldn't find any solution, actually.
Okay, good. As a beginning, that's a good start. Sergio, I want you to summarize what you heard Ishmael say. And some of those key phrases you could use to summarize are here in the map. In other words, you don't have to say everything, but just the general idea that you understood from Ishmael.
Okay, so what was the first problem for me? I understood in this summarize was the lack of communication. I think maybe I can add from my research.
Before you talk about your research, I want to make sure it's clear that what Ishmael said made sense. Okay? So, for example, let me show you what I mean. Summarizing what you've heard. The first expression, so that was when. If I were to use that expression to summarize, I would say, so, from what Ishmael said, when people were driving home, they would get emails. So that was when we realized that time was really a different concept between our two cultures. That meaning when we were getting emails and phone calls, like when we were ready to go home or driving home. So that was when we realized maybe there's a cultural problem. Can you use one of these expressions to summarize something you understood from Ishmael's presentation, Sergio?
Yeah. So that was when the Malaysian employee came back home,
Mhm.
came back home, and maybe it's cultural from them to answer, to call back, instead of during the meeting they used to do these procedures after, when they
Okay.
thinking
Good,
more
but
or less.
I don't know what that refers to. If you start with "that was when," that has to refer to something you said earlier. So I don't know what you're referring to. So just say it again, but instead of that, which part are you referring to? Can you just make that explicit?
Okay, I will try. Uh, I can use anyone, right?
You can use any of these. Yes, yes, yes. All I want to know is just for Ishmael to get some feedback about his presentation. Let's see what we all understood from what he said. And a good way to do that is to try to summarize one or more of the key points that you heard. So my key point was people are getting emailed when they're basically leaving work. And so that was when we realized there's a cultural difference between our concepts of time, maybe. What about for you? You can use any expression you like here.
Okay. Even people are used. Malaysian employee are used to answer emails, call back after work. Maybe you have to find a way to.
Are you offering a solution or are you summarizing what you heard? I'm a little confused. So what did you understand from Ishmael's presentation? Let's start there. And then you're going to do your own presentation in just a moment. So what was the key point you heard?
The lack of communication. Maybe
Good.
they are not driving. We didn't drive correctly.
Good. So you could summarize that by saying, so, Ishmael, all in all, you're saying there's a lack of communication. Look at that expression in the middle. All in all.
I see.
Right?
Yes.
Just to show that it's summarizing. You could also give an opinion to summarize. For example, it really surprised me, but it worked. That was about a solution that someone presented. But you could also use that. Or, I was extremely disappointed or happy with the results. It sounds like PCR was extremely frustrated by the situation. So that's another thing you could use just to describe what was going on. But let's try your presentation now too, Sergio. Okay? So I'll put it back on the screen and see if you can, in about a minute or minute and a half, give us the results of your research. Ready?
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay. In accordance with my research, we have a issue. Some issues actually. The first one is about it sounds we didn't give the right feedback we expected. We have designed, we have choose make a decision, a maker decision, and we should use him to take the information, to take the result about this training, but maybe we spread around all or some employees, and that make really tough to take a you measure the result. at the first was in the first issue, and the second one, of course, this was waste time. Maybe we should concentrate, as I said before, in the.
Oops. Sorry, that was the timer. That was 1.5 minutes.
Okay.
But I think you got through both points pretty well, actually. Ishmael, same thing. If you like, use one of these key phrases and just summarize the main point that you understood, or the main points you understood from Sergio.
Yes, well, so that was the first problem. Malaysian partner couldn't decide any important about an important questions because they don't want to be responsible. They have a hierarchical business culture.
Hierarchical.
Hierarchical business culture, and they beat around the bush when they joined in the meeting.
Is that right, Sergio? Did he get that
Yes.
right?
Yes, I understand.
You understand? No, but we're asking you if that's right. So look, I'm going to encourage you to give more information. So, what happened? What happened? Oh, I can't use any of these expressions. What happened? I'm going to encourage you to give more information. You have to use your imagination, though. Sergio, what happened when a decision maker was appointed for the bankers? You might have to invent a few details here, but use your imagination. So what happened when you appointed a decision maker? Because I think you said that was a problem, giving them a decision. Maybe I misunderstood. You were trying to say that they needed a decision maker, or maybe that's what Ishmael was saying too. You think they needed a decision maker, and instead PCR was asking them all individually what they thought. Maybe that's the problem. They needed. Is that right? They needed a decision maker.
Yeah.
Ah.
Actually, we had make a decision, but for some reason, we didn't concentrate to concentrating on him our decision. Anyway, we could enjoy. We could concentrate him on him and take the writer maybe the writer or the more cause measure for the result.
Okay, so also you mentioned wasting time, but we ran out of time there. In what way? In what way was time wasted?
When instead of you concentrate.
In what way was time wasted? How was time wasted?
So that was when we decide concentrate in all employees instead of just their make a decision.
Okay. By the way, you'll notice in the chat window, I put 3 notes actually. I'm going to put the 3rd one right now. Employees. Do you see what I wrote in the chat window, Sergio?
Yeah.
So, is it maker decision or decision maker?
Decision maker.
Decision maker. Another note, tough to measure the result. It's good expression. Tough instead of difficult is a good way to say it. Or tough to assess the result, or tough to evaluate the result, something like that. Okay, but it's a good expression, good way to say it. Another comment, though, is the difference between employer and employee, right? Because I keep hearing employer, but I think you mean the people on the staff, the people working there at the bank, right? So who are the staff, the employers or the employees?
Employees are the staff.
Employees, right, right. Okay, just to be clear about that. So listen, I think we have a clear idea of two problems. What I want you both to do is take a look at slide 8. Read through this on your own first. Actually, just do that. I think, Ishmael, you might have done this yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, but Sergio, you probably did. I want you to read through this on your own for about a minute, and then I want to just ask you if there's any questions about what's there. And then I want you to use this information to suggest a solution, not to your problem, but to your partner's problem. So that means you have to go back to what you heard them say and offer some opinion, and then you can comment on it. So step 1 is just read it again and tell me if there's any questions about the vocabulary, okay? So, shall we read? Do you want to read aloud, or can you read it on your own? What do you prefer?
It doesn't matter for me.
Okay. Well, if it doesn't matter, let's read it aloud. I thought it might be more difficult to concentrate, but if it doesn't matter, let's read it aloud.
Okay.
Sergio, you take the first paragraph for us.
Okay. Doing business in Malaysia. Concept of time. Predominantly, Malaysia is made up of a mixture of Malaysians, Indians, and Chinese. Which nationality you are working with determines whether deadlines and punctuality are important.
Punctuality.
Punctuality are important. Malays tend to be less strict about punctuality and deadlines than Indians and Chinese. It is important to know which nationality the decision maker and organizer is, as this will determine whether meetings are planned or just take place without prior warning, and whether
without prior warning.
Without prior warning, and whether appointment times are strictly kept.
Okay. If there's any questions, just ask. Is that clear? Any questions about that? Any vocabulary words? It's okay?
It's okay.
Yeah? Okay. Ishmael, take the second for us.
Yes, meaning no. Loss of face is an important issue in Malaysian culture. For example, when a trainer asks a group if they understand, the group will say yes, even if they don't. It may only be when the trainer is alone with a trainee that the trainee will ask about a point not understood. To do this in front of the group would be the loss phase. Direct answers, particularly negative ones, are avoided in order to prevent disagreement and preserve harmony. Two very important aspects of Malaysian culture. Therefore, it often takes time to get feedback.
Okay, so concept of time, yes meaning no. I'll do the next one. Hierarchy and decision-making process. Hierarchy is extremely strong within organizations. There is normally one person at a meeting who can make the decisions, and other participants are expected to give their opinions only when asked by their superior. Finally, relationship building. This is an important aspect of doing business. Business relationships take time, and one should not rush things. If a business partner needs longer to work through a contract or try out a product, so be it. If a contract has been signed, one shouldn't expect that to be the finished. They shouldn't expect that the business be finalized. There will probably be a lot of discussions and decision making behind the scenes, which will eventually be discussed together with the new business partner. So 4 things to think about. Let's return to our meeting now. I'll put the slide back here. Well, actually, let me move forward first. Discuss and analyze the situation. Try to establish what went wrong and why, and what lessons can be learned. Don't worry about the report. Okay, so let's return to our business meeting now. And with those 4 ideas in mind, I want you to offer a solution to your partner, and then you and your partner, or the 3 of us, can talk about whether it's a good solution or not. Maybe you have a different idea. All right? So, Ishmael, you start. You were the first to speak. So, what would you advise Sergio? What would you advise Sergio in this kind of situation? Do you remember what the problem was?
Yes, I remember the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was punctuality of Malaysian partner, and actually Malaysian has different thoughts about time, and they don't very strict about time and schedule of the project. What can we do to solve this problem when we look at from the point of view of the PSR?
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
PCR.
PCR, we couldn't do anything about. Maybe we should make a strict contract with, if we work with a business partner from a different culture, and write the schedule step by step under the contract. And if our business partner don't obey the schedule, doesn't obey the schedule, maybe we can get a punishment from.
Wow. That's good. So we're a bunch of Germans punishing the Malaysians. I don't know if that's a good idea. What do you think, Sergio?
I couldn't find a better solution, John.
What do you think, Sergio?
I'm not sure. I'm afraid we can make have the record later off here in our company.
We could have the record. I couldn't hear the last word.
When you leave the company.
Oh, lay off employees.
Yeah. And maybe. Oh, okay.
How would that solve the issue? I don't understand. Laying off employees is very drastic.
But I mean, if you like follow up this, like put another culture, different culture, to be more strict with Malaysian and Asian people. I think we're gonna have not lay off, but this employee wanna give up. They wanna leave.
You think that? Well, hang on a second. Let's keep in mind the project too, because maybe this doesn't fit the severity of the project. The project. Let's just go back and recap. Do you remember from yesterday? What is our actual project with the bank? What is PCR doing? Do you remember?
Yes. The project was about an upgrading of software of a Malaysian bank.
Right. And this software is important because it's probably a complete solution that has to do with both the customers and the internal communication between. So it's probably internal for the employees and probably for the customers of the bank as well. So it seems like a very important project. But it is just a project. It's just a temporary project. PCR and the bank are two separate entities. So, yeah.
I have another solution idea about this problem.
Okay.
Maybe PCR should find a mentor or a coach who knows Malaysian business culture very well, and they give some
Here you go.
some proposal to PCR how to work and how to solve the problem with the counter partner.
Sergio, what do you think?
Yes, I totally agree. I think no, I think I'm quite sure that if you hire senior Malaysian manager or director that has both culture experience, that is I think is American country, American culture and Malaysian culture.
German and Malaysian.
Okay. Yeah. German and Malaysian. I'm quite sure that you're gonna fix this problem. You're gonna solve this problem. I think this is the key. This is the main issue. Is we find a person highly capable to work in both culture.
Okay. Well, maybe we've solved that problem. Maybe we agree on that. Sergio, it's your turn to comment on Ishmael's problem. You need to offer him a solution as well. I'm going to keep the screen. I'm going to go back to our material. Okay, but remember, you can open the mind map and use any of those expressions you like, particularly when encouraging someone else to give more information. But let's go back. So, based on what Ishmael said earlier, and based on what we read, those 4 points about the culture, what do you think? What do you think we ought to do to solve the problem that he addressed, Sergio?
Well, my recommendations for Ismail is in this issue is we can give for this guy, I mean this new senior director, another responsibility is to try show for these employees they have to follow the rules for our company. I mean, they should answer, they should call back during their work time, not early, not after. That is something really strict, and I think they wanna.
Do you think that'll work, Ishmael?
Actually, I don't think that it solved the problem.
Why not? I agree. I'm a little bit skeptical too, because I feel like you just can't change a culture. It's just going to lead to problems. I'm skeptical. It could work. We could try it, but I wonder if people's behavior is already set. It's just going to be too difficult to go against the tide. That's why I'm a little skeptical.
Maybe we should more soft solution.
Such as?
Such as, for example, if we work with a business partner from East culture, they are generally very hierarchic. We should find the the correct people to if we want feedback from a senior partner.
What do you think about that, Sergio?
I'm afraid I didn't get the point about the partner because I'm really concerned about our deadlines.
Right.
And
time is money.
Yeah, and that's I think we should keep on this new director, Malaysian. The responsibility, the challenger maybe, but we could try at first time now because I believe that we're gonna hire employee people that wanna work with us, and they had to adapt our rules, our culture. I mean professional. Okay, we're gonna make this not really tough, but we're gonna reduce maybe this gap that today is really huge, and trying to be the best approach with them. And I believe that this person, this new director, can reduce potentially this gap and make they understand us better and
make them understand us. Make
them understand us, and of course we can understand them.
Well, so Sergio has a pretty good point there, Ishmael. It is a project and it's got a deadline. So in a way, if they want, I mean, we're providing this service for them. If they can't accept a great deal of our way of working, the project just isn't going to get done because we're the ones doing the project. So it's not a bad point. So Ishmael, what do you think? Is there middle ground between being slave drivers and forcing them to change their culture? Is there a middle ground between that and your idea of hiring an intermediary? That's your suggestion, is always to get someone who understands the culture to be the intermediary between us and them. So where do you think the middle ground is? Just to finish up on this point.
Actually, I agree with Sergio a little, but I think it is how can I say it takes a long time to solve the problems with a man, even if we find a mentor or a middleman, because the Malaysian culture is very hierarchical and
hierarchical. If you're going to use it as an adjective,
hierarchical. And I think that if we want go further, we should find the right one to ask a question and get feedback them. If we ask the low-level staff at the meeting and try to get them any feedback, they couldn't decide about important problems of this project because they don't want to be responsible, and they have no right to give an answer about this project's problems.
Right. So it sounds like what you're saying is we need to be more flexible about our contract and our deadlines. And if we can be more flexible, then we can impose some stricter rules on their side. In other words, we have to give up something. Maybe we need to not worry so much about getting the project done on time, because that's a radical change for them. If I understood correctly, we need to be more flexible with our deadlines and give them the time that they need. Is that the right idea? Did I get it right? Ishmael?
Yes, John
Yeah?
Eric.
Okay. So our meeting is over, and we have to come to a final decision. So between the three of us, we have to agree on an action plan. And as we agree, I think it would be a good idea to put the action plan on the screen so we can use it. So I'm going to go to today's class, just so that you can see what we come up with. I'm going to put it here. This is class, I don't know which one it is. I think it's 9. I can't remember. Maybe it's 10. I think it's 9. Okay, and so to finish up our meeting, what's our takeaway point here? What are we going to do? What do we all three agree we can do?
We are going to find
Hire.
a mediator.
So first is the question about, let's put it like this. First is the question about the mediator. Okay? Mediator. Oh my God, that's not mediator. There we go. Let's put our options on the table. So one option is find a mediator, a go-between, someone that understands the culture. Okay? And Sergio, what else should I add to the list? What else? What other options are on the table besides the mediator, Sergio?
Besides mediator,
What else are we considering?
yeah, we have to consider if we decide to be more flexible, we have to be aware about our deals. I mean, for deadlines, and I'm really afraid to be more flexible. It will interfere in our deals or whatever we have.
So if we're flexible, the drawback is we're not going to meet deadlines. So we have to assess how important the deadlines really are. But the mediator, the pro, is that it's someone who understands local culture. And so communication should be a lot easier. Communication. Is there a con for finding the mediator that we haven't thought of? So same thing, we've got a pro and a con for each. What's the con for the mediator, and what's the pro for flexibility? Both of you, what do you think?
We should pay for the mediator, and
So there's a cost involved.
cost involved.
All right, that could be a con. It's an extra, added cost. Okay. Is there a pro for flexibility that we should mention? If we're more flexible with our deadlines and how we do our work, is there a pro, an advantage to that? If there's no advantage, we can't do it.
Maybe the employees of both company should work in a more how can I say,
Good atmosphere.
positive atmosphere of
Yeah. Okay.
work.
Okay. So both sets of employees would have a more positive atmosphere because things will be more relaxed, basically. All right. Are there any other options on the table for us to consider besides hiring a mediator, having a more flexible approach to the project? Anything else we should think about? Or is that it?
all set.
Yeah. Okay. I was just thinking. One thing we talked about that we kind of abandoned, but being more strict is another problem. Is another possibility. The pro is we'll get things done on time, so the deadline shouldn't be a problem. The con is, I think, a big cultural problem, because we're going to be seen, this PCR will be seen as very aggressive. That might not help things.
The project might be failed.
Okay. So, whole deal might be lost. I mean, they could always just quit and say, we're going to hire someone else. We don't need you.
Yes.
So,
Especially in international business environment, we should behave very carefully.
okay.
Our tax of turnover is gonna be higher.
Our turnover?
Yeah.
Repeat, our turnover what?
The tax for our tax turnover tax is gonna be higher.
Not tax, the rate. Rate.
The rate.
Tax is only for money. So here it's the rate, like the amount of people, the rate of turnover will be higher. Yeah, I agree. So we have to avoid that. Okay. So I think between the two solutions mentioned, we can find a middle ground. Maybe hiring one mediator that's not too expensive. In other words, one person that they can go to, just one, as well as relaxing the deadlines and not being, even if we lose a bit of money, we won't lose the project. So maybe we can reach a middle ground. Now we have to sell this idea to the boss of PCR. We have to sell the idea. This is what we came up with from our research. So the final step here is you have to be prepared to report these findings to the board of directors. Do you feel ready to report the findings to the board of directors?
Yes.
Yeah? Oh, good. Sergio, are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So let's divide up the task. Who's going to talk about the mediator? Who's going to talk about flexibility? Or how should we divide up the report? Because both of you should do, let's say, 1 minute to 2 minutes of a presentation and keep it short, but handle different aspects. So how do you want to tackle? You take the mediator, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you handle the flexibility part, Ishmael?
Yes.
Okay. And what should be involved in our presentation? We have to sell this idea, right? So what should be involved in our presentation to the board of directors? How? What can we do to prepare?
Defining the problems.
Yeah.
Finding the solution.
So how can we prepare? Okay, so the idea is during your presentation, problem?
Show the possible solutions, alternatives.
Now,
Cost.
And decision or decision proposal.
we've got one step missing.
Cost.
Before we get to the cost,
Pros and cons.
yeah, the counter
Counter.
argument is important here. Because if you present a solution, someone is going to have a different opinion. So you need to anticipate before you do the presentation, you need to anticipate what people might object to. And you have to have a counter argument ready. Okay? Now,
Should I show a counter argument, John Eric, or should I wait a counter argument from general manager?
you need to be ready so that you can answer any questions that come up. So you have to be ready with a counter argument.
Okay.
You can even put it into the presentation itself.
Okay.
And cost and things like that, those are all specific. Those are all very specific things which you can mention. But in general, I think that the structure can be something like that. Let me just move this down to a new page. Okay. So, do you feel ready to present to the board of directors right now? Or do you need time to prepare? What do you think? Should we have the board of director come into the room right now? Or do you think you're not ready?
We can schedule for another day.
Okay. If you want to schedule it for another day, then I want you to think about this structure, and we're going to move on to a new unit, but we're still going to have your presentation because you need to get feedback. You know, you need to try out making a good argument and seeing how people react to it. Okay? So, what do you think about tomorrow's class? Presenting the problem for tomorrow. I mean, presenting your final report for tomorrow. Possible?
Okay.
Yeah?
It's okay for me.
All right. So, think about this structure. Clearly define the problem. Show a possible solution or possible solutions. Be ready, either present or be ready to defend yourself against counter-arguments. And from the counter-arguments, of course, you reach a conclusion, final decision. So in the end, we decided to hire a mediator because blah, 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 blah. Okay? Sergio, you're handling the mediator. Sergio, or Ishmael, you're handling the flexibility issue, right?
Okay.
All right. So, you could do this as an oral presentation. That means the only preparation you need to do is just to think about what you want to say. If you really, really want to write it, you can. That's fine too. And I'll correct it later. But basically, you can just take notes. You can even take this page, copy it, and then just start adding notes. You know, point 1, 2, and 3 directly into the outline if you want. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. We as a class will be the board of directors listening to your suggestions, and at least me, hopefully everyone, will be ready to ask you some questions about it. Okay, so you have to be able to explain your decisions. But you can explain your decisions easily because on this next page is all of the expertise you gained. How they think about time, what they think about a loss of face, what they say to your face and what they really mean, and why that occurs, so you know the reasons for your decisions because it's on slide 8. All right? You've got the mind map too. These key expressions came from the listening. You might want to reread the listening to see how they were used. All right? That might help you as well. Okay, so we'll start the new unit tomorrow, but let's see if we can do one or both of your presentations as well. Okay? That's the plan. That is the plan. All right, we're going to stop here for now. The new unit is all about job performance. So after our meeting to the board, we'll begin that in the next class, which is the same time tomorrow, 10 GMT. And I'll be back an hour earlier at 9 GMT for our speaking skills class. Okay? Check it out. Bye for now, everyone.
Okay,
Have a good
John.
day.
Bye. Thank
See
you,
you
John.
soon.
Bye.
Thanks, Ismael. Bye-bye.